Ciao friends, this is Liz with Simple Italian Cooking, and I've got another simple Italian recipe for you today. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make an easy and delicious asparagus frittata. Here are the ingredients that I use. I use some salt and pepper, olive oil, 5 eggs, 1 tablespoon of butter, 1/4 cup of Romano cheese, and a good handful, about 12 to 15 thin asparagus. If you don't have thin ones, then you'll probably want to need about 5 thick ones, and just chop them a little bit smaller than what I'm doing. So the first step is, let's go ahead and prep our asparagus. I take off the tough ends and just get those out of the way. I want these to cook fairly quickly over the stove, so I go ahead and chop them up into about 1½ size pieces. Okay, so I take a medium-sized saucepan, and I make sure it's heated up to about medium heat. Add in the asparagus, and then I add in just enough water to cover the asparagus slightly. And then I'm going to bring that water up to a boil by turning it up, the heat up to high. Once it starts to boil, I then lower it back down to about a low-medium heat. And I'm going to let these asparagus cook for about 10 minutes until they turn bright green and are fork tender. We don't want them super mushy. We're still going to cook them a little bit longer later. I actually did test my recipe by chopping up the asparagus really small, and I found that that did not work. The flavor was not as strong as when you use the larger chunks and have that. So that was a really important thing that I have learned while making these asparagus frittatas. Okay, next what we're going to do is we're going to put that asparagus aside. We're going to kind of let it cool for a little bit while we do our next step. Okay, so in a medium-sized mixing bowl or small bowl, whatever you have, we want it large enough so that we can crack all those eggs. So we've got 5 eggs, and I'm just going to beat them. I'm using a fork. You can use a whisk. I don't want to incorporate too much air into it, so I am mindful, but definitely want it to be well beaten so that there aren't any clumps of egg. Next, I'm going to go ahead and add in the cheese, along with some cracked black pepper. Now, you don't have to do it if you're not a fan of cracked black pepper, but it really does add a good flavor to this frittata. So I really recommend. And I'm doing about a pinch of it, so just whatever your tastes are. I don't really measure exactly some of this stuff. So, and then I add in some salt, which the Romano is salty enough, but I do like to add in a little bit more. And by this time, go ahead and add in all the asparagus and give it a good mix. Just stir it up. I want to incorporate that cheese definitely throughout. Make sure it's evenly dispersed along with the salt and pepper. Okay, now back to the pan. We use the same pan, and I'm melting that 1 tablespoon of butter. Now, you don't have to do a mix of butter and olive oil like I like to do. You could do all olive oil, you could do all butter, but I really like the mix. I think the olive oil gives it a nice flavor, and the butter, I like, it has a little bit more fat in it, and I just find it helps the frittata not to stick so much to the bottom of the pan. It's a good combination. So I'm heating this all up over low heat. Once the butter is pretty much melted, I'm going to go ahead and add in the tablespoon of the extra virgin olive oil. And I'm just eyeballing it, but usually 1 swirl of a nice even pour is about a tablespoon. All right, mix that up, and then at this point, we're going to go ahead and add in the egg mixture. Okay, so at this point we want to keep the pan at a low heat. I am for the low and slow cooking method when it comes to frittata like this. So what we're going to do is we're going to let it cook for a total of about 8 minutes. Now, it may be 10 minutes or around there depending on how your stove works. But for me, what I like to do is around 8 minutes total. And then for the first 6 minutes, I'm going to cover it. So put the lid on the pan and cook for about 5 to 6 minutes. Okay, so it's been 6 minutes. I took the lid off. Now you can see it's starting to get firm on the edges, but it's still really, really wet on the inside. It's starting to firm up, but not much. So I'm going to cook it for another 2 to 3 minutes on still on low, and I'm going to keep it uncovered. Again, your stove may be a little different. What we want to avoid is burning the frittata on the bottom. That's why I like to do it low and slow. If you need to turn the heat up just a tad, because like maybe it's still, if it's still all runny, then turn it up just a tad. Okay, and here we are after 2 minutes of cooking uncovered. It is not burnt. It is still slightly undercooked in the center, and that's where the broiling is going to take over and fix it for us. I don't know why I decided to go. I guess I was just curious, and I started messing around with my frittata because I wanted to see how cooked it was on the bottom because I'm always paranoid of having it burned. All right, next I place it under the broiler. Make sure that top rack is about 6 inches from the broiler and broil it for about 1 minute. Ovens vary, so watch it closely. You're looking for a slight brown, golden brown on top. Once you achieve that, pull that baby out and it is ready to serve. This looks absolutely delicious. So I like to serve this immediately, nice and warm. I like to put it on the plate. I made this for my mother and my sister. We were all getting together and it was delicious. It's hot. Smells delicious. I put quite a bit of pepper in there and I can really taste that. And that's really nice, a nice backdrop to this asparagus. I really hope you try this recipe. If you want the printable recipe, all the links are down in the description. Please make sure to like and share this video. I really appreciate it. Join my newsletter. I send you free recipes every week so that are easy, Italian, and simple. Well, thanks so much for watching. Grazie e ciao.